Booyah! I don't think people say booyah anymore, but check out that outsole. Hey guys, Paul Ronto here from RunRepeat, and today we're here to check out the Hoka Speedgoat 4. Now I know this shoe's been out on the market for a long time. I think it came out last January, but I was really excited to get my hands on this. I've wanted one of these for a long time, so I still wanted to do this review and let you guys know what I think about it. Overall, this is Hoka's really aggressive trail running shoe. It's got a really aggressive outsole. It's a wide, stable platform. It's the 5th shoe in the Speedgoat lineup. It's a neutral runner, but let's dig into some of the specifics. First, I like to talk about the updates. They've redesigned the upper, they've redesigned the midsole, they've redesigned the outsole, they've redesigned the tongue. There's a lot of changes in this shoe, and I want to talk about each of them because I don't know if every single change that they made to this shoe from the 3 to the 4 was really necessary. Before we get into the review though, please hit the like button below. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to be updated on future reviews that we publish. It really helps us here at RunRepeat, it helps the channel, and it lets us continue doing what we're doing with these reviews so you can know more about the shoes you're thinking of buying. Thanks. Let's start with the upper. So the upper's been completely redesigned. It's a little bit thinner material. It's more breathable than the 3, which is a nice update. It's supposed to be more durable and more abrasion resistance. We'll see, time will tell on that. It is a little less flexible than the 3. It's pretty stiff. It doesn't want to give so much to my foot as I run. Tongue got an update. It lost a little bit of weight. It's very minimally padded. It's semi-gusseted. Something I like about this is they gusseted this tongue with like neoprene nylon strips instead of the mesh strips, say in the Challenger ATR 6 that I had some complaints about. So the tongue is a little bit stretchy. The gussets are a little bit stretchy. When you put the shoe on, you can pull the tongue into that nice satisfying position you want. Even though it's gusseted, it moves around a little bit, which is actually, I think, a great feature because you can place the tongue right where you want it. And the laces, pretty standard lacing system here. Although the laces are a little bit softer than on the Challenger again. You know, I had a complaint. The laces were pretty stiff on the Challenger. They look almost identical, so maybe I just got like some starched bunk laces on the Challenger. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about lacing in the fit segment of this video because I did have some issues with fit on this shoe, but overall I think nothing really to complain about on the lacing system. They've updated the midsole on this. I'm mostly going to talk about this in the cons, I think, but one thing I did want to talk about in the pros is this midsole is a little stiffer than the midsole in the 3, and I actually think that that makes this shoe a lot more stable. Really wide here in the forefoot, but when I put it even against the Challenger, you can see how much wider the Speedgoat is. With a firmer foam, there's less wobble, but I think mostly what I'm gonna talk about in the midsole is gonna come in the cons, so stay tuned, obviously, for that. Okay, the outsole. This is a huge pro for me. They've updated the outsole a little bit, they moved the lugs around, they went to a step lug, they're pretty deep, they're pretty aggressive. With the width of this outsole and these lugs, it's insanely stable. This thing is super confidence inspiring coming downhill. I had no slip issues. I took this on some pretty aggressive trails in my testing, and I'm impressed. You know, one of the complaints I had with the Challenger was the outsole wasn't as grippy as I was hoping. This outsole completely blows it away. Honestly, the outsole might be my favorite part of the shoe. It's my favorite update. Vibram Mega Grip. It says it all right in the name. Okay, let's move on to the cons, the things that I think this shoe could do a little better at. And again, let's start with the upper. So the upper is a little less stretchy and flexible than the 3. I think meant to provide a little bit better lockdown, but I had some issues with this that I'm gonna talk about in the fit section. As for the heel counter, super stiff when I do my little heel counter test. Not a bad thing, but I did have some heel slip. I tried to solve that with some lacing techniques. It was difficult. Again, I'm gonna talk more about this in fit. I've got a long section in fit. This shoe just didn't love my foot like the way I was hoping it was going to. The tongue, again, I really like minimally padded tongues normally. This one, when I put it on, it felt great. But again, I had some fit issues. To get this to fit well, I had to lace the laces down really tight. Because this tongue is very minimally padded, I had some pressure over the top of my foot. I'm not saying I would want a more padded tongue. I actually would want this shoe to fit better with this tongue, but because I had to crank it down so tight, I missed some of that padding that the 3 had. I'm a little disappointed in the midsole. You know, they firmed it up to give it a little more responsiveness. This is a real stiff shoe, real stiff midsole. It feels responsive. It's not that soft, mushy ride that I felt in the Challenger, which is great. This is supposed to be a higher performing shoe, but it just didn't feel comfortable to me. It felt a little too harsh, to be honest. It's not just that it's super responsive and stiff in the flex, but the foam itself actually feels stiff. And I think stiffening the midsole might have been a slight mistake on the 4. I struggled to decide, is this midsole a pro or a con? I mean, yes, it's more responsive. Yes, it performs a little bit better, but it's not as comfortable. It's not as soft. On these long runs, these long trail runs, I also want comfort. For me, that was just a little bit more important than the performance. And so that's why it tipped into the con category. If you want to know more facts about the upper, the midsole, all that stuff, check out RunRepeat, see all the products there. We compare this to a bunch of other like shoes. We've got a bunch of retailers that you can link to buy this shoe so we can get you the best price. But make sure you check out RunRepeat.com for all the information on this shoe. Let's talk about some of the specifics like fit, comfort, durability, and let's start with fit. Little disclaimer, as you guys know, I've got a slightly wider foot. I'm usually between a D and a 2E. I tried the 2E in this. I don't know if that was a mistake or not. They did widen this platform a little bit, but Hokas tend to run somewhat narrow on me, or so they did in the past. So I got the 2E, and I had some fit issues. Like the first run in this shoe, maybe the first 2 or 3 miles, I probably relaced my shoe 10 times. Tighter, looser, I used the upper eyelet, I tried to lock my heel down. I had a lot of changes I was trying to figure out because this shoe just wasn't fitting right. At times it was too tight over the top of my foot, so my foot was going a little numb. At times I had to loosen it and then it felt sloppy. You know, it's weird because it doesn't feel too wide when I put it on. Like the upper is snug against my foot, but there is a lot of room in this toe box, which I like. I just couldn't get it to fit right on my foot. I really struggled with that, from heel slip to feeling too sloppy to really being a little bit uncomfortable. Like maybe there's a little bit too much volume in this. It wasn't even that it was too wide and I had my laces cranked all the way down. I still had an inch or inch and a half between the eyelet chains, but I couldn't figure out how to get the lockdown right on my foot. When they were too tight, my foot felt like it was falling asleep. When they were a little loose, it felt floppy. Felt like I had a little numbness actually on the bottom of my foot, the pad of my foot, because again, this foam is really stiff and firm, and so it's not that soft of a ride. Ultimately, I've been running in them a little bit looser than I would like, which makes them feel a little unstable when I'm going fast over some technical terrain, which sucks because this shoe is actually really stable when I have it locked down and tight. It's insanely grippy, insanely confidence inspiring, but I gotta run them a little loose to keep my foot comfortable, you know, and I've got the Clifton 7 in a wide as well. Again, obviously I know they're a different shoe, but this wide fits fantastic. And this wide is just, it's like, I can't put my finger on it. I honestly don't know what's wrong with the fit because it doesn't seem like I'm sloshing around a ton. My foot didn't love it. Okay, on to comfort. I think it just misses the mark a little bit, to be honest. It's not the comfort I've come to expect from a Hoka. It's not the comfort from look at how big that midsole is, a maximally cushioned midsole. I think they could have done a little bit better job on making this a little more comfortable. Soften the midsole back up a little bit, make the upper just a touch more flexible, and I think that would solve a lot of the problems I'm having. Weight. This shoe gained a little bit of weight from the 3 to the 4, which is a bummer with all these updates. You know, Hoka says the midsole's a little bit lighter, it says the upper's a little bit lighter, but it gained a tiny bit of weight. I actually bought a scale to start weighing these shoes myself because I sometimes think that the manufacturer's average weight is off. Obviously, it's an average throughout the lineup. I wanted to know exactly what the shoe I'm wearing is. The average weight for this, they say, is 10.8 ounces. This actually came in just at 11.2. Again, I've got the 2E, so I wouldn't expect the 2E to be 0.4 more ounces, but it's right in there. But at over 11, it's a pretty heavy shoe. I mean, there's a lot of cushioning, I get it, but it's a pretty heavy trail shoe at over 11 ounces. Also, for those of you guys in grams, that's 316 grams, at least that's what my scale says. So I think they could have lightened this up a little bit. Maybe it's the denser foam that made it a little heavier. I'm not exactly sure. As for drop and stack, 32 millimeter stack in the rear, so it's pretty high. That's 4 millimeter drop, minimal drop shoe, which I actually like. That's all there's to say about drop and stack. Okay, looks. I think it's a pretty cool looking shoe. I like that they put the Hoka logo down on the midsole. I love the colors. There's a lot going on here though. This is definitely not a plain shoe. There's a lot of welded overlays throughout the upper. I dig it. I like the look of the outsole. I like how aggressive this shoe looks. There's some really cool colorways, some bright oranges and some greens. So I think they've done a good job with the looks on this shoe. Price, this shoe retails around $145. I think it's a little high, especially for some of the issues I had with this shoe on fit and comfort. I think it could be 120-ish and it would be a better value, especially at a shoe that's over 11 ounces. But In the end, there is some tech, great outsole again. If this is a shoe you have grown to love in the Speedgoat series, it's probably one that at 145, it's worth giving a shot. I think it's a great shoe. I think that it's got plenty of potential. I think this line of the Speedgoat is one of Hoka's flagship models. It was a little too stiff for me. Didn't have that comfort that I was looking for. I had some fit issues like I talked about. But overall, I mean, it's a long distance trail running shoe. I didn't want to mention this to bias my review early on, but some of the issues can be solved by changing out the insole. And so, you know, the insoles that come with it are these little flimsy Hoka ones. And I've put in my super feet. This adds a little bit of price. These are custom super feet. It also adds a little bit of weight. So now the shoe is getting even heavier and more expensive, but that has solved a lot of the fit issues, honestly. Putting in a new insole, you know, I want to review these shoes as stock. So I didn't want to review it with a new insole in because a lot of people won't put a new insole in. I've been enjoying this shoe since about my 4th run when I put that custom insole in. But overall, I mean, it's a super aggressive, confidence inspiring, it's breathable. I really like that about it. I think that this shoe will go the distance on durability. I'm excited for the Speedgoat 5. Let's just say that. I hope they can bring back some of the good parts of the Speedgoat 3 and correct some of the issues I had in this with comfort and fit. Okay, my question of the day for you guys. Have you run in the 3 and the 4? Tell me I'm crazy. Comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are between the 3 and the 4. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear that I'm off base on this, but I don't think I am. Anyway, thanks for watching today, guys. Really appreciate it. Please come back for the next video. And remember, go do be and run repeat.